since Diddy has been arrested for his crime ring that occurs mostly at his parties, celebrities have been speaking up about the star, telling the world their experiences with him and the parties. Now, in 1994, Usher lived with Diddy, which is said to have been recommended by L.A. Reid so Usher could get the flavor of the high life. Diddy had custody of him and was able to do whatever he wanted with the future star. A 2016 clip of Usher on the Howard Stern show, though, has been going viral, as a clip shows Stern asking Usher if Diddy's home was known for wild parties. Usher then said, "Not really, I got a chance to see some things. I don't know if I could indulge and even understand what I was looking at." He went on to say, "It was pretty wild, it was crazy. There were very curious things taking place and I didn't necessarily understand it." Now, it seems like he was exposed to all of this at a very young age and was not ready. Diddy really took advantage of Usher's innocence, as I'm sure he saw some pretty messed up things happening. YouTuber Jeff Wittick has also spoken out about attending Diddy's parties. Now, he spoke about it on his podcast, Jeff FM. He claimed that he had a recent realization remembering he'd been to a Diddy party. And these Diddy parties are like effing crazy, like they're the best parties, like people wanted to go to them, he said. That's what's been so troubling about this whole thing, is like if you were anybody in the space at that time, you'd be at one of those parties. Everybody went to those parties and people took pictures with him too. Like, bro, if you were around in the mid-2000s and you saw Diddy at a Super Bowl, you'd take a picture with him. Now, speaking of the party he attended, Jeff said he went to one of them with Amber Rose and his ex-girlfriend, and remembers being confused over them getting dressed up. He continued by saying, "I'm like dressing up like I'm going to a normal party or whatever, like I got my effing polo with the collar pop, two of them, I've doubled up, and they're wearing this lingerie where their bodies are showing through, and I'm like, you guys are going like that," and they were like, "You don't understand these parties," and I did not understand. Now, Jeff also said he witnessed people getting intimate at the party right in front of him, and he said he did not participate in that part, but he got super drunk. "It was just crazy, I was literally there and lived through it," he added. Now, it seems like Ashton Kutcher knows something, but he's not willing to reveal it to the world. During a 2019 episode of Hot Ones, the host asked Ashton about Diddy's infamous parties. "I've got a lot I can't tell," he said. "Can't tell that one either, I'm actually cycling through them. Diddy party stories, man, that was some weird memory lane thing." Now, the fact that he has all these different stories but he can't tell them raises some eyebrows. It's like he knows what happened in the stories was wrong and messed up, and he doesn't want to admit it. Now, footage has emerged of Ashton at one of Diddy's white parties, and although there was nothing illegal shown in the clip, it still raises a lot of questions. Now, Diddy and Ashton met through MTV and became friends very quickly. I think Ashton knows more about the whole situation than he's really letting on to, as he could get into major trouble for what happened. Then there's the Kardashians. During a 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian told her older sister Kourtney that she spent the weekend with a bunch of her friends, including Diddy, Quincy Combs, Justin Bieber, and French Montana. Later on, she spoke more about the party to Kourtney and one of her friends who was also there. "I haven't been to bed yet, I got on a plane at 5:30 a.m., Khloe shared. "Well, this party, I think half the people were butt naked," she added. Then, Khloe's friend tried telling more about what happened, but Khloe shushed her. What was she trying to hide? Now, another clip, this time from a 2016 episode of Cocktails with Khloe, has gone viral, showing Khloe and Kourtney talking to Diddy. "Well, I know you're known for the parties. When you think of a party or a good time, you think of Puff," Khloe said. Now, Diddy simply responded, "Yeah," to which Khloe added, "We've been known to party with you a few times." Kourtney asking, "Do you remember Diddy's birthday?" to which Kourtney admitted, "Yes, I forgot about that. That was an epic night too." Ray J was recently interviewed by Chris Como on the news station Como, and he opened up about his relationship with Diddy, having gone to many of his parties. Ray J was adamant, though, that everything at these parties was normal. "We've never seen the stuff that's being said and the stuff that people's finding out. Like, I've never been in the rooms that people are talking about, and I never knew they existed," he said. Ray J then admitted Diddy's situation is unfortunate, and he says the next generation of entertainers should learn from the Bad Boy Records CEO's mistakes and show more integrity and transparency. But just because Ray J didn't see the crimes happening doesn't mean that they weren't. According to a former music industry insider, Tom Swoop, he had been to the parties and posted about it on his YouTube channel. He broke down how the parties worked for viewers and claims that the parties were separated into tiers of access. There was general admission, then a series of tears, ending with entrance to the inner circle where the real partying went on. Now, this allegedly included humiliating male and female guests on the promise of record deals or money. Now, it sounds like Ray J was part of the general admissions tier and wasn't exposed to all the bad things happening behind closed doors. In a Resurfaced video from 2010, Russell Brand said that Diddy took him on an enforced holiday when the pair were working on the movie Get Him to the Greek. "Diddy is new to me, right?" he said at the time. "He looked after me, he took me on an enforced holiday to Vegas. He's a very intense man because I think he comes from nothing and now he's very, very powerful. People that do stuff like that, they're very intense. Now, I like him, he's very influential," he explained, adding that saying no to Diddy was difficult. Say that you don't want to do something and Diddy wants you to do it, it's really hard to not do that thing. You still do it because you think, don't upset him, he said. He's an influential person, he may ask you for loads of favors and you can't say no to him. That's my worry, pressure, he added. I don't want to be nobody's B, I work too hard in life, not even Diddy's B. Now, Russell has been accused of similar crimes as Diddy has been, which is just something to note. And finally, Rodney Jones was a producer on Diddy's last album and he filed a lawsuit against the star. He accused the rapper of mistreating him and exposing him to several crimes. In an August interview with Rolling Stone, Rodney called Diddy a monster and said he is hiding, afraid that he will have his life ended for speaking up against the star. "He's a monster," he told the magazine. "He'll do whatever necessary to get what he wants. He doesn't take no for an answer. He told me himself, I'll smack my mama. Anyone who can say that even jokingly is a monster. He's nothing to be played with." For a person whose brand is Love Records and changed their name to Love and named their kid Love, he doesn't show love, he's just marketing. He went on to say that he is afraid of Diddy. "I got threats, I've never had so much hitting me at once. Diddy has a lot of people on his payroll in a lot of different positions. He's very connected, it's made me nervous traveling," he said. Diddy, though, has denied all of this. Mr. Jones's lawsuit is pure fiction, a shameless attempt to create media hype and extract a quick settlement, Diddy's lawyer Erica Wolf said in a statement after filing a new motion to dismiss Rodney's amended 98-page complaint. Now, I think Rodney was very brave for what he's done, and his lawsuit was the catalyst in the downfall of Diddy.
An interview between Justin Bieber and Diddy has recently resurfaced and it's taking the internet by storm. Diddy wanted the younger star to keep quiet about whatever was happening at their hangouts, and after all the recent allegations against Diddy Combs, people are voicing their concerns. Popular music artist Sean Diddy Combs, responsible for songs like I'll Be Missing You and I Need a Girl, was recently arrested, and new details about the serious situation are coming out daily. It started with the November 2023 lawsuit from one of his ex-partners, and it continued with multiple other individuals coming forward to share their stories of Diddy's misconduct, and the latest development is a 2011 Jimmy Kimmel live interview resurfacing. Kimmel is interviewing Combs and a young Justin Bieber. At this point in time, Bieber was quite close to Combs, it seems, good friends. Combs even referred to Bieber as a little brother throughout the interview. Still, the age difference between the two is staggering, about 24 years. So of course, Kimmel questioned how this duo even came to be, asking if the pair were possibly working together, to which Diddy denied, instead sharing that the two became friends in a strange way.
I mean, I think that we become friends in a strange way, you know?
Like Robin Big.
No real elaboration on that statement. Diddy just kind of continues on, saying that Bieber is like a little brother to a lot of people in the music industry. He will call up Diddy and presumably others in the industry for advice when needed, and then his next statements just start feeling a little bit icky with everything the public now knows about him. Diddy starts talking about how himself and others in the strong family that is the record industry want to keep their arms around Justin and protect him because he is such a nice person.
And he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around and we want to protect him.
Back in 2011, when this interview came out, these statements raised no red flags as far as the public knew. Diddy was a great guy, a big help to a rising star, and a music icon. In fact, people clapped for him in the interview because, well, these are nice things to say about a 16-year-old Bieber. However, in 2024, with everything we now know about Combs and his behind-the-scenes Justin's lifestyle, his comments are way more off-putting and uncomfortable. Justin appears to be pretty at ease during the interview, joking around with Combs and Kimmel. When Kimmel plays off the little brother comments by suggesting Combs buy Bieber a car like he did his actual son, Bieber is quick to play along, saying, "He got me a Lamborghini, I haven't gotten it yet though." This is somehow the moment that shifted the conversation into questionable territory. Kimmel asks when the car is coming, to which Diddy responds that Bieber had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and this is where it gets weird in 2024, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody. This is met with lots of laughter from the audience, because who would have ever thought that anything shady could be going on behind the scenes with this guy? This entire conversation and interaction is likely referring to the 48 hours Diddy and Justin had spent together around this time. That's right, a young Justin Bieber was left in Combs' care for a full 48 hours. Now, how did that even happen? Well, there is an explanation out there. Nowadays, musicians' YouTubes are more for uploading music videos or some behind the scenes content, but 15 years ago, vlogs were super common and uploaded pretty frequently by big stars, including Bieber. He did in fact shoot a quick 2-minute video with Diddy, and it is in fact still up on Justin Bieber's YouTube channel today. So let's get into it. The video starts out with Diddy and Bieber looking at a luxury car, which is, you guessed it, a Lamborghini, just like they were talking about in the Kimmel interview. In the vlog, Diddy is shown telling Justin that when he turns 16 to come back down to use the car, even saying the keys would be his. And that makes some of those Kimmel comments make a lot more sense. But how did Bieber even end up in the position to be hanging out with Diddy anyways? The caption of the vlog explains that, saying that Justin had produced a song for Combs that he wanted to show him, and the Believers got his attention and made it happen. As the mini vlog continues, Combs and Bieber start discussing what they're gonna do. I mean, Combs is almost 40 and Bieber hasn't hit 16 yet, so really, what are they gonna do? Combs' answer to that question is, "Where are we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream."
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose. It's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
And I think collectively we're all hoping it was paintball and music producing, but still, that is a very concerning statement from Combs. Combs continues on sharing that he had custody of Bieber for the 48 hours he was with him, and then shared how he had legal guardianship of Usher when he produced his first album. The short video finishes with Diddy promising that him and the young star were going to go full crazy. Bieber suggested they start the 48 hours by going to get some girls, to which Diddy responded, "Man after my heart."
He's with me, so and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
All in all, this video could not have aged worse. It's surprising that the video is even still up on Justin's channel, and even more surprising, the comment section is still active. Many users are commenting their concerns over the contents of the conversation. One user bringing up the fact that despite this video being up almost 14 years, no one's questioned it till now. We don't know exactly what happened during those 48 hours, however, something weird must have went down, because it seems Justin stopped contacting Combs afterward. Diddy visited Bieber in studio a little while after the 48 hours, and Justin looked noticeably less at ease than he had in that first vlog together. Diddy also seemed to be getting on Justin's case for not contacting him or staying in touch as much, which is an odd thing to be requesting from someone almost 24 years your junior. Diddy is still getting on the young star's case, suggesting that because he's a big deal now, selling out arenas and everything, that's why he stopped calling and that's why they stopped hanging out.
Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Comments the baby singer has made as he gets older have also raised some red flags about what he has gone through in the industry. Comments about how he wants to protect younger artists and getting emotional in interviews.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn. And
it's no secret that Justin has had a rough go in the music industry and has publicly coped with his trauma in unglamorous ways. As more and more information comes out about those he was surrounded with at the time, people are creating more and more theories that make his outbursts make sense. However, it seems Bieber is looking to put all the harder events of his upbringing behind him. An insider close to the singer has shared that amongst all this, he just wants to focus on being a great dad dad and husband. Bieber welcomed his first child with Hailey Bieber in August after announcing the pregnancy back in May. His fans and the general public do wish for the best for the singer. The same cannot be said though for Sean Diddy Combs, of course, and as the charges and evidence continue to pile up against him, he loses public favor with every passing day. Recently, it's come out that one of his youngest victims wasn't even Justin's age when he first met Combs. As it stands, Combs is facing a minimum of 15 years and a max of a life sentence. Combs has continued to deny that he ever harmed anyone.
When he was just getting his foot in the music industry's door, Usher spent a year living with Puff. Usher opened up about his experience in a 2016 interview with Howard Stern, and although he made it sound like a blast, he did hint at something more disturbing beneath the surface. He said that he didn't understand what he was even looking at, and very curious things were taking place. Perhaps the most telling, Usher made it clear that he wouldn't want his descendants attending Puffy Camp like he did. Regardless, Usher's protege, Justin Bieber, would once spend 48 hours with Puff, unchaperoned. It may be just speculation, but a fake phone number that Bieber later gave Puff now reads like a cry for help. After being fired from Hot 97 in 1998, Wendy Williams accused Puff of playing a role in all of that. In 2004, Williams wrote that she would never forget the hell that he put her through. On a 2015 episode of her show, she commented on the allegations that Cassie Ventura was hiding from him, and she painted him as a mogul that you can't escape. That same year, Williams asked Jennifer Lopez if she'd ever get back together with him, and Lopez's mother, Guadalupe Rodriguez, basically answered for her daughter with a look that said everything. Aubrey O'Day alleged that Puff groomed her and controlled her appearances while filming Making the Band when she was around 21 years old. The former Danity Kane songstress recently got candid about the criticism that she faced while working on the MTV reality series alongside Puff, who was an executive producer on the show. She said, "I look at the beginning of the show, and I was auditioning, and I'm so young, and I'm like, I don't know how I became like the really gorgeous-faced one," she said on an appearance of the Crisis Queen podcast. Puff is on camera saying how much he hates it, but he's off camera telling me all the ways I need to be groomed properly, like down to my toenails. Yeah, one day, apparently, the rapper was like, "Yeah, you're the looker of the band," but sent her out of the studio in the same day because her toes weren't properly polished. And she said a lot of this was a part of the cycle of harm. She said, "With Puff, I saw multiple sides of him, but I don't know who I was even talking to that was sober. There was always an element of something going on." O'Day claimed Puff once forbid her from being friends with a certain very big name person whom he was also involved with. And she said that was the first time he had kind of said, "You're not allowed to be around that person ever again." And oof. She's like, and that was the first time I started to see the dynamics change with just how he approached me on camera. So like I mentioned before, she was part of Danity Kane until 2008, and then she was booted for not doing what was expected of her. But she said that wasn't talent-wise, that was in other areas. She said after coming off of Puff, there's not many people you can go into a room with and get that type of feeling from. Kind of cryptic, but okay. And she's mentioned that like grooming is a process. You're not just harmed on day one. Groomers make their victims feel comfortable before flipping a switch. She said it's like the military. They break you down and build you back up into the soldier that they need you to be for what they need you for. Now, Puff allegedly tried to buy her silence by offering her publishing rights back in 2023, but allegedly she declined the deal. Cassie Ventura was in a relationship with Puff from 2007 till 2018, and there were the signs of trouble in paradise. In 2015, Cassie posted a photo with the caption, "How I sleep knowing that I'm single and nobody's cheating on me." And then the next year, it was reported that the two were seen arguing in Beverly Hills. 5 years after their final breakup, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Puff. The lawsuit specifically accuses him of all kinds of violence, harm, harassment, discrimination, hostile work environment, and other things I can't talk about. And although he denied these claims, the lawsuit would be settled out of court. But that's not the end. Then there was footage from 2016 that hit the surface of the news, depicting Puff kind of harming Ventura. He issued an apology, but a lot of folks have been supporting Cassie, rightfully so. His attorney, Ben Brafman, said in a statement that Puff vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, he has been subjected to Cassie's persistent demand of $30 million, under the threat of writing a damaging book about the relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish his reputation and seeking a payday. Well, when it came to what Cassie had to say about it, she kept it professional. "We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law." That was it. Hopefully this is the beginning of a process that will hold Puff responsible for his depraved conduct. A week after Puff's arrest earlier this year, actress Jenny Mollen revealed that she was once invited to one of the music mogul's freak-offs when she was actually under the legal drinking age in the States. She said, "I was in San Diego and this guy came over and he's like, 'My boss wants to meet you.' And she was just like hanging out. She was in jeans, a t-shirt. She eventually went over, met Puff, and she joked that he had the littlest hand she's ever felt. And then allegedly he invited her up to his room for a party and she declined. And then she's like, 'Guys, would I have been in a freak-off? Would I have been like captured in his room, and would there be footage of me to this day in some sort of crazy exploitative freak-off?' Cat Williams predicted Puff's downfall during an appearance on the Club Shay Shay podcast in January of this year. She said all of these deviants is catching all hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. Doesn't matter who you is, Pastor TD, Jigs, any of them. Williams also claimed he was invited to several of Puff's infamous parties over the years, but always declined. He said, "I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that something that hasn't been violated that I was telling you about. Because Puff be wanting to party and you gotta tell him no." He repeated, like, "You gotta tell him no." I did. See, I got the receipts for everything. I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely. While Puff has faced numerous accusations throughout the years, Rodney, or Little Rod Jones, was among the first to take serious legal action, contributing to the mogul's current circumstances. Jones was a producer on the Love album, Off the Grid, and according to Jones, he endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer. Jones alleged that Puff repeatedly groped him and made him participate in unwanted activities, and that included having to work in the bathroom while Puff showered. What's more, Jones claimed that he once woke up nude in bed with Puff and 2 professionals after being slipped something, and his lawsuit also implicates Puff's son, Justin Dior, and Chief of Staff Christina Coram, the latter of whom was also accused of grooming. Former bad boy artist Mace, who has feuded with Puff for many years over money and the rights to his music, referenced the raids on Puff's house earlier this year on an episode of his podcast, It Is What It Is. When his co-host, Cameron, asked how the Harlem World rapper was doing, Mace responded, "I'm good, man. Reparations is getting closer and closer. I'll be sure to give you your percentage." For context on the feuds, the Welcome Back rapper and his former boss's conflict extends back decades, with both parties claiming that the other owed them money. In 2020, Mace alleged that he faced difficulties regaining his publishing from Puff, and he did not properly receive these rights until 2023. Brutal! Curtis James Jackson III, aka 50 Cent, is another big name who's had some stuff to say about Puff. Now, this all started back in 2006 with a diss track that alleged that Puff's was connected to the death of Biggie Smalls. In October 2023, though, 50 Cent elaborated on his beef with Puff, describing his parties as uncomfortable. During his final lap tour, 50 Cent said Puff would hug you from the front and the back at the same time. And 50 Cent has been even more vocal about Puff following the raid on his homes earlier this year. It's also been reported that 50 Cent sold a docuseries to Netflix entitled Did He Do It? Speaking of which, 50 Cent has also claimed that Puff got Tupac killed. Again, there isn't much backing this up, although Tupac was also skeptical of Puff. Speaking with Vibe magazine back in 1995, Tupac was asked if he thought Puff was connected to the previous year, the first incident, and he didn't hold back. He was like, "I believe so," adding that it's between me and him and only he knows. Well, a year later, Tupac was involved in another awful event, this one proving fatal, and Dwan Keefe D. Davis, who was arrested for Tupac's death in 2023, once said that Puff offered $1 million to carry out the killing. Whether or not Puff was involved, these words paint the portrait of a not-so-great man.
As you probably know, Diddy was arrested last month for running a crime ring, and all eyes have been on his friends and known acquaintances, especially Justin Bieber. People are suspecting that Justin either 1, took part in the crimes, or 2, he was a victim. Since Diddy's arrest, people have been finding interviews or moments where Diddy acts super strange around Justin, and fans are worried for the star. Although Justin himself hasn't made a statement about Diddy's arrest, multiple sources close to him have spoken to the press about his current state. According to an Us Weekly source, Justin feels disgusted by the accusations against his former mentor. They added that Justin is advised to stay as far away as possible from anything and everything related to the now incarcerated rapper and producer. Another source for the same publication added that he is in a hard place mentally right now, as he struggles to come to terms with the allegations against Diddy. The bond shared with Diddy makes the accusations against him particularly tough to stomach, the source outlined. Then, according to Daily Mail sources, Justin feels isolated dealing with the revelations about Diddy and is sailing the waters alone. He apparently feels like there's no one who would understand his situation. Family members are concerned about Justin. It's unclear whether Diddy would have taken advantage of Justin at the time, as his family was nearby and his manager Scooter Braun really did care about him. The last thing Justin wants to do is relive or even discuss his complicated friendship with Diddy, the source said. But he's finally breaking his silence to his friends about his nightmare experience and private hell it caused him, they said. Now, hopefully, Justin is able to get the support that he needs, because this could be a long road for him. Now, in 2009, when Justin was a rising star, he reached out to Diddy on Twitter, begging him for a collab on his new album. Now, this caught Diddy's attention, and he became a mentor for the young star. Diddy helped him navigate fame in the industry, but a lot of videos have resurfaced of the two that are making people question Diddy's intentions with being so close to Justin. One video posted to Justin's YouTube channel from 2009 has people concerned because of what we know now about Diddy. The title of the video is Justin Bieber's 48 Hours with Diddy. The description of the video says, "I told you guys I produced a song for Diddy and I wanted to show it to him and you got his attention. Best fans in the world. Well, this past weekend I spent 48 hours with Diddy and had some fun. Here is some of the action. Thanks for the car puff, haha." So yes, a young Justin spent 48 hours alone with Diddy without his parents or even a responsible adult present. In this video, Diddy says he's having 48 hours with Diddy. Where we're hanging and what we're doing we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours he's with me and we're gonna go full crazy. Now, this is just weird in general, and looking back, Justin should have never been left alone with that man in the first place. Then in 2011, Diddy and Justin did a joint interview on Jimmy Kimmel. Things took a turn though when Diddy seemed to scold Justin on live TV in front of millions. Diddy was constantly praising Justin, but when Jimmy asked Justin if Diddy had given him any gifts, things got awkward to say the least. Justin said, "He got me a Lamborghini, I haven't gotten it yet though," and Diddy said the Lamborghini for a day or two and he had access to the house. And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody, he said. I mean, Diddy could have pulled Justin aside afterwards and told him this, but the fact that he did it on TV and no one said anything is crazy. More recently though, a video of the pair reuniting in 2021 has people questioning if Diddy thought that Justin was working with the feds. In the video, it shows Diddy getting out of a car and approaching Justin, giving him a hug before patting him down on his chest and torso a few times. Now, the video had been posted in 2021 by Justin himself on his Instagram. But last week, Daily Mail reshared the video with the title, "Disturbing Video of Diddy with Justin Bieber." The accompanying caption read, "A resurfaced video of Diddy and Justin Bieber hugging has sparked speculation that Diddy was checking to see if the pop star was wearing a wire." Now, the fact that Diddy thought he was wearing a wire makes me believe that he knew he was doing something wrong and that the police were onto him. I mean, why wasn't this a bigger red flag at the time? Fans are now seeing the video in a new light due to Diddy's allegations, and one fan commented, "The body language says it all, from smiling to a frown in 2 seconds. JB shakes his head like no, I'm not wearing a wire." Now, many fans are encouraging Justin to tell his story, but only if he's comfortable. The music video was posted in 2020 and many people have called out how weird it was, but now that they're connecting the dots to Diddy, it's all making sense to them. Now, Justin grew up around Diddy just like his other mentor, Usher, did. When Usher was a young teen, he was signed by L.A. Reid, the co-founder of LaFace. Usher then went to New York in the spring of 1994 to live with Diddy, something Reid called Flavor Camp. Usher has then spoken about his experiences, and in one interview with Howard Howard Stern, Usher said, "I got a chance to see some things. I don't know if I could indulge and even understand what I was looking at." He elaborated by saying, "It was pretty wild, it was crazy, there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it." Then he was asked if he would allow his own kids to attend flavor camp at Diddy's residence, and he said, "Hell no." Now, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, then I don't know what does. I mean, Diddy even had custody of Usher for a period of time. Elsewhere during the chat, Usher recalled how he was like the little brother, as they called me Baby Boo. And Usher admitted he wasn't disciplinary, he was letting me be a young man. Yikes. Now it seems like Usher was a part of something he didn't fully understand, and that Justin went through something similar. After his Los Angeles and Miami homes were raided by officials in March, Diddy was arrested in New York in September and charged with various crimes. A 14-page indictment against him included dozens of disturbing allegations about him, including claims that he orchestrated and filmed freak-off parties. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to the charges against him, but weeks later, attorney Gloria Allred gathered her own additional clients who are set to file their own lawsuits against Diddy. Lawyer Tony Busby announced in a press conference. He said that his firm and another law firm will be representing 120 additional accusers. Now, before he was arrested, Diddy already had 4 different lawsuits filed against him, which he claimed were just money grabs and that he had done nothing wrong. He had put together multiple bail packages, but the judge denied all of them, so he'll be staying in jail for the time being. Now, Diddy intends to testify during his trial, which has been set for May 5th, 2025. We'll just have to see how the rest of this plays out, as I'm sure that more people will be coming forward with stories and that more people will be getting exposed for being a part of Diddy's crimes. Now, at the moment, no celebrity has directly spoken out against him, and who knows if Justin will. He's married and he just welcomed his first son with Hailey Bieber to the world in August of this year. Dealing with this type of thing is not something he needs in his life right now, as he should be focused on being a father, but with all this going on, it's probably bringing up a lot of memories and emotions, so we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Puff Daddy is currently facing some serious allegations that have tarnished the reputation he built for himself in the music industry and beyond. Once a close-knit circle of celebrity friends seems to be distancing themselves in the wake of these serious allegations. Well, there's a leaked VHS tape allegedly sent as an invitation to Puffy's 29th birthday back in 1998 that has further raised a number of eyebrows. So known for his love of partying, Puff Daddy has never shied away from going out and about while hosting such events, although some of his current legal troubles reportedly stem from similar gatherings. But I digress. So the nearly 6-minute long video serves both as a time capsule from the peak of the bad boy era and as a reminder of how far Puff Daddy, who even skipped this year's Grammy Awards and is now kind of, out of action, has slipped socially amid the investigation. So the tape, which arrived in the hands of the most powerful and glamorous players in LA and New York in a black velvet pouch with the birthday gala, November 4th, 1998 written on it in white script, features, wait for it folks, Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Magic Johnson, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, Joan Rivers, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tommy Hilfiger, Clive Davis, Ronald Perlman, Penny Marshall, Stephen Baldwin, and so many more. And they're all taking turns to hype the bash, encouraging the recipients to RSVP and to goof off for the camera. It all begins with a strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito, lying on a sofa under a blanket, is like, "That's right, Puff Daddy's having a party, and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." And then the cavalcade of A-listers take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the affair will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. Apparently the venue, which turned out to be Cipriani Wall Street, would be revealed later. One person refers to the "I'll Be Missing You" rapper as the legendary Puff Daddy. Some folks, including Ellen DeGeneres, tease him for his many monikers. Some other folks make fun of their own unease with hip-hop slang. One reliable source who attended the bash said, "I'd forgotten how much was made of the party in the press. I think bigger celebs and moguls were fascinated by the chutzpah of this 29-year-old. The Daily News reported that at the time the bash cost like $600,000 and 1,600 people were on that list. The Observer compared it to Truman Capote's black and white ball at the Plaza, writing that while Truman's party was more for the creme de la creme of society, Puff Daddy was celebrating the kind of high-profile commercial success and notoriety that knows no bounds. So for decades, these parties were the place to be. Puff Daddy had all sorts of them. He had his annual Hamptons White Party. We had a number of blow-up birthday bashes like the one I just mentioned. There were these lavish champagne and caviar-filled soirees, and these were attended by the likes of Jay-Z, Beyonce, J-Lo, Leonardo DiCaprio, and so many more. There was chatter. Leonardo DiCaprio did step back after a snap from one of the infamous parties came to light, and a friend of his mentioned, like, look, he just went to a party, it wasn't that big of a deal, they weren't super close, but like, look, back when Leonardo showed up at Puff Daddy's white party, the music star had tagged Leonardo as the #1 person he wanted at the bash. But apparently a source close to the situation is like, no, Leo had no connection with Puff Daddy ever since that party in 1998. The insider made it clear that the actor was not involved in the freak-offs. Well, a source shares that they were known to be wild. Anything went to those parties. And ever since all those legal things have been coming into light this year, there's been a lot of speculation about what goes on there. There's been talks of rooms just for getting it on. There's been rampant substance use. There's been these all-night getting it on situations. Apparently, and these freak-offs were mentioned in the 14-page indictment, victims were, given substances against their will, forced to participate in extended performances that could last days at a time with professional workers. These things took place at hotels. Now, we gotta remember that Puff Daddy did plead not guilty to the charges and has denied all claims of SA. How much or how little did his A-list guests actually see at these crazy parties? Well, a couple of celebs have not been tight-lipped. In a 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian recalled hitting up a Puff Daddy bash in Las Vegas, and she's like, yeah, this party, I think half the people were like, in the nude. And when asked about what went down when somebody else attended, Ashton Kutcher was like, I got a lot I can't say. And he said that verbatim in 2019 on Hot Ones. He's like, yeah, going through my little Rolodex of stories, can't tell that one either. In 2016, Howard Stern asked Usher, who lived with Puff Daddy for a year when he was, getting a start in the industry. And Howard Stern was like, hey, would you let anybody in your family go to one of those parties? Usher was like, nope. So obviously following all of this, a lot of folks are like, okay, we were maybe at the parties, but we didn't see anything. 50 Cent has been very, very vocal for a very long time, being like, nope, I didn't go to those parties. It's an uncomfortable energy, which in retrospect, probably a very smart man. Puff Daddy's friend Ray J was like, I've never seen anything that's been said there. I've never been in rooms that people are talking about. I don't think they existed. A lot of people in the industry can agree with me on that sense. Now look, apparently all the unsavory behavior took place at the after parties. What happened before 2 a.m. pales into comparison to what happened at 5 a.m. There was a source who wrangled guests for these parties, and yeah, the high-profile celebs would apparently leave around 2 to 3 a.m., and that's when the party took a turn for the naughty. Folks would lose their clothes, which was apparently the signal for people to leave. That's when fun things would come out, and that's when it would turn into a bender. During an intimate discussion with Oprah, peeling away the layers of his complex life, Puff Daddy evoked curiosity by avoiding details about the origin of the Puff Daddy moniker. So this conversation was part of an interview for O Magazine, and Oprah was just casually asking. She's like, what's going on here? And Puffy was like, look, it's a nickname somebody gave me. And obviously Oprah being an interviewer, she was like, okay, but we're gonna prod here. And then Puff Daddy was like, look, I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one. He's like, no, we're gonna have a name change ceremony. I'm rocking with, a new moniker now. My man Biggie gave me that. So who else was at these parties? Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton were spotted enjoying the lavish and extravagant atmosphere. Going back to Usher, once again, so he was mentored by Puff Daddy. He was at a lot of these parties. He's mentioned a lot of the wild things, and he once, kind of handed over Bieber. Other high-profile guests included music icon Diana Ross, Hollywood actor Owen Wilson, but we're gonna go back to Ashton Kutcher for a moment. Because even though he said, I can't talk about anything, and oh, I never did anything, their friendship goes way back. In the mid-2000s, they were so close that they were like, oh, we're the new Rat Pack, us and Jamie Foxx. So when Ashton said like, hey, I can't talk about a lot of this, what can't you talk about? Because the Daily Mail is like, hey, we think you might be expecting a subpoena soon about what you do know. And sure, yeah, Puffy has said, nothing's happening. But if Ashton Kutcher is worried about potential betrayal, what would he be betrayed about? Over the past 2 weeks, people on the internet have unearthed troves of photos and video footage connecting various celebrities to the hip-hop mogul, Puffy. Big names ranging from Martha Stewart to Leonardo DiCaprio have all been photographed at Puffy's infamous parties, and some have previously hinted at witnessing wild behavior at such events. Those in Puffy's immediate circle, such as former proteges Usher and Justin Bieber, are under particularly intense scrutiny. Internet users recently resurfaced a 2016 Howard Stern interview in which Usher said very curious things took place at Puffy's home when he lived there. Afterwards, Usher's Twitter account briefly disappeared, leading to speculation that he was trying to hide something. His posts have since reappeared, and he denied scrubbing his account, blaming it on a hack. Most celebrities who have been publicly linked to Puffy have not issued a statement since his arrest, leading many to wonder who may have known what and when. Oh, and obviously Puffy has also denied all allegations against him. Many high-profile celebrities are scared to death to speak out against Puffy after he was thrown behind bars on charges recently, as a 2-decade-old clip resurfaced of the hip-hop mogul joking about locking women inside his wild parties. In the video, Puffy told Conan O'Brien in a 2002 interview that he hosts quinky-dinky parties with loads of beautiful women and booze. He said, a lot of ladies drink water at parties, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. Gotta keep them there. You need locks on the doors. And Puffy said that he also keeps the AC off and the room hot so people get comfortable and loose. Ooh. The I'll Be Missing You rapper may have been bragging about his now notorious freak-off parties, which prosecutors, because this is now a court case, said involved women who had been slipped something, who were forced to engage in prolonged and derogatory acts with big-name celebrities. And like I said before, a lot of the celebrities spotted at these degenerate parties over the past couple of decades have still not spoken up against the music mogul, likely out of fear for their own reputations. Celebrities are silent because they are scared to death of their brands being tanked by fans over ties to Puffy. And even worse, they fear if they cross him, things could end in disaster, at least according to Eric Schiffer, CEO of Reputation Management Consultants. This is what he said in a statement to news outlets. Some of the A-listers, by the way, include ex-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, former TV co-host Ashton Kutcher, longtime friend Naomi Campbell, fellow rapper Jay-Z. Another PR person, Doug Eldridge, said, there's no shortage of reasons why celebs are remaining tight-lipped. First, the nature of these allegations are fairly gruesome, from intercourse-related crimes to slipping folks substances without their consent, and so forth and so on. Eldridge said the scope and scale of evidence that was collected during the federal raid included a lot of phones, a lot of computers, and now more than 50 individuals who are reportedly cooperating as witnesses. Third, the possible depth and reach of those who might be complicit and therefore compromised for having participated in Puffy's illicit parties, kind of staggering. So Puffy is currently facing a minimum of 15 years in prison, and did plead not guilty to the charges in federal court in Lower Manhattan. A judge ordered the Bad Boy Records founder be held without bail pending trial, and was denied when his lawyer tried to appeal the decision the day afterwards. Puffy actually previously suspected that his parties would raise eyebrows, and he said so in a 1999 interview with Entertainment Tonight. He said, they're probably going to be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we want to have a good time. Whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated. It's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. Another PR expert, Eddie the media trainer, also weighed in on why folks might be choosing to keep their mouths shut right now. Say you have a client who worked with Puffy, and the news of his arrest comes out. What's your game plan? What do you do first? You kind of have to look at it like a chess match. You're trying to think a few steps ahead. Like, okay, if I do this right now, what is the chessboard going to look like later? And what are my options going to be? One thing that's important to remember with this scenario, my sense is that we are in the first or second inning of something that is going to go on for a while, especially if this goes to trial. There's going to be discovery, and all sorts of information is going to come out. Sworn testimonies, victim statements. And so from a crisis strategy standpoint, you basically want to say, okay, how do I keep as many options as possible for as long as possible so I can have as much control as possible? thinking about it strategically, what is the advantage to making a comment right now? I would say there is none, and your goal is to distance yourself as much as possible from the center of the controversy, especially if you weren't involved. Making a comment is more likely to just attract the kind of attention that you don't want. And when asked specifically, at what point do you talk to the press or issue a statement, the answer is never, depending on who you are and depending on what your involvement is. In Ashton Kutcher's best case scenario, this is a story for the next week or whatever. He doesn't comment about it, it goes away. Nobody ever asks him about it again, and he never has to address it. It's in his best interest to be silent. One person who has come forward might provide some answers as to why others are choosing to stay mum. 50 Cent is not holding back about his longtime rival. The rapper and television producer addressed his relationship with Puffy in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that was published recently. So 50 Cent, who worked in a lot of the same circles as Puffy back in the day, explained why he never attended the Bad Boy record founder's famous parties, where Puffy allegedly committed some of the heinous acts he's been accused of. He said, "I've been very vocal about not going to Puffy parties and doing SHIT like that. I've been staying out of that SHIT for years. It's just an uncomfortable energy connected to it." 50 Cent said, "He asked to take me shopping. I thought it was the weirdest SHIT in the world, because that might be something that a man says to a woman. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not effing with this weird energy or weird SHIT, coming off the way he was just moving. From that, I wasn't comfortable around him." 50 Cent specifically addressed the 2016 video that emerged earlier this year, the one that shows Puffy attacking his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel hallway. He's like, okay, first he denied that it even happened, and then the tape comes out, so it means everything that N-word says is a lie. Well, that's what 50 said of Puffy. And by the way, Puffy has strongly denied the allegations in all of the suits against him. 50 Cent said when somebody watches that, if they have a daughter and they can imagine her being under those circumstances, that SHIT is crazy. Like, they let him get away with it, with all the influence and power you have. The person you're with is supposed to want to be a part of your life, not be forced. The Power producer and actor is also making a documentary about the allegations against Puffy. And after a bidding war, Netflix purchased the rights to the documentary back in May. 50 Cent said last year that the proceeds from the docuseries would go towards victims of SA. And when asked by The Hollywood Reporter what made him produce the documentary, 50 Cent said, "I'm the only one from hip-hop culture that's produced quality projects. We do have a lot of talent within our culture where the talent has developed a comfortability in front of the camera. So they're usually a part of it as an actor or driving force of why someone would watch the project, but not the behind-the-scenes production, producing the whole project. So there's a difference." And despite working, once again, very much adjacent to Puffy in the early 2000s, the indie club hitmaker clarified the two were never friends. He said it was mostly work. "I wouldn't call it a friendship because there wouldn't be disappointment between us if we didn't speak to each other." He said there were points where we worked together. Jennifer Lopez actually told him he should work with me, 50 Cent, as a songwriter in the beginning. And he said once he was around at the early stages, and he could have done my record deal at that point. And that happened in the year 2000. And 50 Cent said, following that, he was fired at by somebody outside of his grandmother's house after the label had signed him. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just getting back to work, and Puffy would call me to write. I remember my son's mom would answer, and I didn't want to get on the phone, like, no. And she was like, 'What the F? We need money.' She's looking at me like, 'Why? Why don't you want to talk to him?' And 50 Cent went on like, 'I didn't ever party. I didn't hang out with him. Puffy is a business person. When people call him a producer, I see people that were taken advantage of, who produced things that he took from them. He got the credit. He's not a producer. He's been able to take advantage of the business and the creatives in it. 50 Cent doesn't have any interest in doing that. He says he falls under the creative, so he just didn't take to hanging out with that." 50 Cent was also asked why other celebrities aren't speaking up about Puffy like he is. And he was like, "Come on." He said some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on the tape or what's not on tape, so they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you've got other people who look and go, "Well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it." Then you've got a part of culture that says that's snitching or, stuff like that. And it's not uncomfortable for him to say that because, well, he's been saying it for many, many years. He's been telling us he doesn't mess with them. He doesn't like the way you're moving. He's like, this is all crazy. And he stated everybody else is not going to be as comfortable saying that as he is.